finally with the main star of our night, our author, Mary Pooja. Now, Pooja, I'm sure there's so much people want to know what of your inspiration behind this book. Now, can you just tell us, it's as simple as you can, your feeling behind this title, False Label?
Okay, I wrote the book False Labels because when I was growing up, I was labeled and called a lot of names. And names, they bless or they curse. And for me, name calling was like a curse to me because they damaged my self-esteem. So I grew up not really having a very healthy self-esteem. And this is something that is going on in our community, in our world, where the society or the media or the people in our lives, they try to tell us to live according to their own opinions of us. And those opinions are always false or fabricated lies. But False Labels is a book that tells us to drop all the stories we have been told about ourselves and create our own paths and be unique without apologizing. So that is what False Labels is about. So I wrote the book to inspire other people or other women or men and women who have gone through things like that or who have been labeled, but they are stuck in darkness, to help them come out of that darkness. So that is why I wrote the book. And like book one, which is the book you're holding, it has 30 short stories about people who were labeled and called many names, but they refuse to live by people's expectations of them. Yeah, so that is just a little bit about why I started the series.
So now, I find it amazing how, from what everyone has said especially, that this book is something for everyone across the board. Female, male, children, adults, everyone. Now, to you as the author, what is the common thread? What does everyone has in common that allows you to easily be able to capture their attention with this book?
Everyone is human and everyone has feelings. When you call me a name, the same way I feel is the same way you feel about it. Nobody wants to be called a name. Nobody wants to be labeled. We are all human beings. So even though pain is very subjective, but I know for sure that if you are called a name that is not your name, it does hurt. So everyone can relate to being stopped at some point with labels that does not belong to you. So I did a lot of research and I found out from many girls, from many women, from many men who have been labeled and they don't like it. People just want to be who they are, not what people want them to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as name calling goes, what would be your advice for, first of all, especially our children out there that are being labeled by their parents? Because in the African community, as our parents, they label us a lot without knowing. They'll say they'll laugh like, say, oh, you're fat, oh, you're this. But they don't realize the effect it has on their children. So now, what would be your advice to that child who is being labeled and no one likes to be labeled?
Okay, I'm going to start by answering for the parents. A lot of times, parents label their children. Sometimes they know it, sometimes they don't know it. But what I want to say, especially to parents, is that every word that goes out really counts. Words can bless, they can curse, they can build, they can destroy. So we should be able to sometimes control what we say to our children because it does affect them in a lot of ways. We should try to use good words to our children because those are encouraging. And for children, I want to say that when God created you and I, He created a unique masterpiece of love. Everyone is unique in their own right. No matter how many kinds of names they call you or the kind of labels people put on you, you should always know that you are a unique person and don't try to be like anyone because people are trying to tell you that you're not good enough. So that's my advice to young people out there, both young and old, because this is not an issue that is isolated to only young people. Adults also face that kind of problem. So my advice to that, we can drop any old stories, we can drop every false labels and create our own paths. We can be unique without apologizing for it. Yeah.
Right. Now, what about those of us out there who also label falsely? Because there are a lot labeled falsely without realizing it. You know, what would you say to that?
Could you repeat that, please?
I said, what would you say to those of us who are out there who also label falsely? Because we are labeled falsely, but we are also doing it unknowingly. What would be your advice to those of us?
My advice is that we should all be strong. There's something about developing a thick skin when people call you names. But for me, I don't really believe in that. I believe that if you know who you are and whom you belong to, no matter what names comes at you, it won't mean anything to you because you know exactly who you are. So my advice is just be strong. When the name comes, let them get in one ear and go into the other, but you have to know that you are unique in your own right. Nobody should use their words to put you down or to stop you from achieving your dream.
So now we know there are 3 books. Can you tell us what is different about each book? And after that, can you tell us where our viewers can get the book, those that were not here to get the book?
Okay, there are 3 books. Book 1 is about 13 short stories I collected from individuals who were labeled in different ways, but did come out of it because they realized that words were keeping them back, and they were not ready to live their lives according to people's opinions of them, so they changed their lives around. And book 2 is mostly about bullying. I have people in book 2 who were ex-bullies who confess about their bullying acts and the reasons why they bullied. And I also have victims of bullying in book 2, like people that are crippled, but people bully them. People that are disabled, but people bully them. So I have those stories in there just to share with the world some of the things that happens when you label people. And one of the stories I really like it, book 1, is about a boy who became a bully because he was bullied so much, and then he decided to fight back. And in order to try to fight back, he became a bully. However, he did change his life and became an advocate. And now he goes around and he's a motivational speaker and goes around and talk about bullying because it's a very dangerous thing to do. Our kids are killing their own lives because of bullying. And book 3 is about the solutions. What will you do? That's the title. What will you do if you are bullied? So I talk about things like that because there are many things that you can do if you are being a bully. You can build your self-esteem. And then most of the time, I also talk about the bullies themselves because most of the time, we only focus on the victims and not the bullies. I talk about the bullies because sometimes they do these things because they're seeking attention, but nobody understands that. So there are things in book 3 which talks about bullies, how they can use their time to be productive citizens of the world instead of being bullies. I also talk about ways we can try to get to know why they bully and try to help them to solve the problems. I talk about empathy. If we all empathize with each other, we wouldn't be bullying. I talk about forgiveness. I talk about a lot of things. Those are simple things that go on in our day-to-day life. So I talk about all of those things. I talk about the role of the bus drivers with regards to bullying, the role of the teachers. Because sometimes teachers are the ones bullying the students. So I bring all of these things and try to bring some solutions on how we can go about creating a bully-free world for us and the generation to come, and how we can all use our time to be productive citizens to the world and to ourselves. Yeah. And the books can be found on Amazon.com and BarnesandNobles.com.
Amazon.com and where?
And BarnesandNobles.com. And a lot of people who want to buy the books in bulk could call me, or they could go on my website and they'll get information on how to get the book. And my website is www.falselabelseries.com.
Can you repeat that website again?
www.falselabelseries.com.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Mary Kay. Now, is there anything else that you wanted to ask for our viewers? Anything that you forgot to mention? Anything?
Yeah, what I have to say is that every human being is unique in their own right. We don't have to fit in because we're not born to fit in, we're born to stand out. So no matter what names come at you, no matter what labels are placed on you, you have to try to drop all those old stories and create your own path and bring your uniqueness to the world, because your world will meet you at your desires. When the time comes, the right time comes, you're not going to point fingers on people that you did not achieve your dream because of Mr. A or B. So I'm just encouraging everyone to try to live their own lives and not the lives that some other people want from them.
Murray, thank you so much for that. Thank you for coming into my life. Because of her team, I was able to come here, and I will be reading this book tonight, and I will definitely get the second and third books on Amazon. And amazing. It's just an amazing book, and I think you all should definitely go out and get it, because as some of us has pointed out already, it's a book that relates to everyone across the board. Female, male, whether you're lesbian, gay, straight, a child, or whatever. It's a book that really relates to each and every one of us and what we are going through in life right now and in the future. I just realized you have an NGO, right? What is the name of the NGO, and how can we find out more information, and what is it about?
But it's a global not-for-profit organization which I created to help empower young girls and women throughout the world, especially undeserved communities. We have 3 focus areas, which is bullying. We try to combat bullying, and we also try to help girls to build their self-esteem. Then we will also be trying to help girls go to school, because there are a lot of girls who have the brains and they don't have the money to go to school. So these are some of the things we are looking forward to doing.
Now, Marie, you're focusing on, and I heard you say this earlier, self-esteem. How important is building a girl's self-esteem?
Well, self-esteem for me is like the core of every human's life. Without a healthy self-esteem, you are really nothing. You just go around in life without knowing who you are. Self-esteem is how we look at our self-worth. And if you don't have it, if you don't have a healthy one, then you are nothing. And I'm very particular about self-esteem, because I grew up as a teenager who did not have a very healthy self-esteem because of names that I was called. Names do affect you. However, I don't still stand like that little girl who was once bullied and shamed. I stand as a very proud daughter of Africa who is making a change. So I want to look and give back to other girls to help them to build their self-esteem. We're doing that through a lot of ways, through education, through a workshop curriculum I created, which will be teaching about self-esteem in many schools around the world. So these are some of the things I'll be doing with the NGO, and I'm calling for the world to join me in this vision, because this is not a problem that is only isolated here in the States or in my country, Cameroon. This is a global problem. So I'm calling for everybody to join in this issue. There are many girls out there who, in the 21st century, continue to be sold into early marriages, but they like to go to school, they don't have that opportunity. So I really want to be able to reach to them. So launching this organization and being here today is just to mobilize people and resources, so that together we can help these girls out there who have the brains, they don't have the money to go to school.
Right. Yeah. Now, can you tell us one more time the website for this NGO?
www.forcelabelseries.com.
Thank you so much for that. So not only are you a great author of 3 amazing books, but you're also helping to build the self-esteem of girls, and which is, like you said, very, very important. Probably one of the most important things that you can give back to your community. Thank you so much, Marie.